July 28th, 1992, some of you know, I was at a house, and the house had a ladder leaning against the wall. The ladder was made of metal. And my friend was on one side, I worked for him and his brother, and I was on the other side. And we started to lower this ladder. And as we lowered it, it hit an electric line that we thought we were not going to miss, or we're not going to hit, obviously. And it had about 8,000 to 10,000 volts of electricity in there. And that electricity traveled down and went into my hands, and then it went out my feet, so it went all the way down my body. And when it did, put 4 holes, two on each foot, going out the side. But here's what happened. When it did, it stopped my heart, which then stops your lungs, and then you stop breathing. And I know that because the other friend of mine, the 2 brothers that owned the business, he was up on the roof and he came down. And he told me after the fact, he said, you were dead. I was really upset. I'm thinking, we killed Dan. It's our fault. So I went through a real deep, dark time. So this quest for the meaning of life is very, very important to me. It's something that I've studied for myself and certainly for other people for 20 plus years now. Here, life is not about finding yourself, rather life is about creating yourself. For me, to get to that point of meaning, there's 2 things I latched onto: happiness and fulfillment. So I'm going to talk to you today about the 5 principles of jackrabbit. In no way did I discover them or invent them. They were the ones that just percolated up for me through study of trying to get out of this dark place. You all have principles. All of us in this room have principles, and they guide our actions daily. Here's you right here. See yourself there, waving? Let's look down those tracks a year from now, into that fog. Something's there, right? Would everybody say that something is in that mist? What is it? If we jump into the first principle here, the first principle that I practice is to develop vision. Now this sounds kind of self-helpish, doesn't it? Anybody sitting out there going, oh no, another self-help guy? But here's the thing around self-help. Guy walks into a bookstore and he says to the woman, he said, can you point me to the self-help section? And she said, well, I suppose I could, but wouldn't that defeat the purpose? So my intention here is not to help you, but rather to let us have an experience where you may get some things where you're going to go out and continue to grow and help yourself. The gap between the visions that we develop and the reality all comes down to one word. I was talking with a young lady yesterday that I know, and she does some baking. She's a baker for restaurants and things, pies and cookies and cakes. And she read the book, and I've known her for many, many years, and she said, Danny, I love it, and I've been really working on a vision. Where I get hung up is action. And I said, welcome to the club. So as you start to develop that vision, think to yourself, what did you do before 12:25 this morning? What actions did you engage in that are moving you toward that vision? Did you do some? If so, great. If not, what are you going to do this afternoon to move towards that vision? What are you going to do when you go home tonight to move towards that vision? What are you going to do tomorrow? And if some of you, right, like us, go, Danny, I really don't have a vision yet. Let's get clear. Your action is to get clear on your vision. We as a society, I believe, are not comfortable with stillness. Just the other day, iPhone 5, 24 hours, 2 million sold. I love my iPhone, but I got to tell you, it's a distraction a lot of times. Good productivity tool, distraction. How many emails do you get a day? I work in that world, right? With a group the other day, average, we're getting 100 emails a day. That person's getting over 24,000 emails a year, not including Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. See, the notion of be still is not comfortable for us. And most people go, I need to find the time. We're never going to find the time. You've got to create the time to be still, especially in this environment in which we live right now. The next principle is to know yourself. What are your strengths, your relation to the universe, your aims, your purposes? Practice the principle to take stock of yourself. My thought now is sometimes we have to make wrong turns to get on the right road. So the principles so far: develop vision and create reality. Be still. Right? Know yourself. Fourth one is to seek support. Here's the interesting thing. When we need to seek support, oftentimes, it will take us to another principle of what I call jackrabbit. You got it? I need to seek support. I don't feel so good. Great, let's go develop a vision maybe. I need to seek support. I don't feel so good. Okay, maybe let's create some time to be still. So the model for jackrabbit is circular. There's no one that's better than the other. We're all going to bounce between them. Some days we just have to agree that the world is not going to support the way that we want things to go. Someday the world will break our surfboards. And this happened to be a few weeks ago in the Jersey Shore. A friend of mine took the picture, and it was one of the best days of the summer for waves. There was nobody there. There were dolphins out. It was warm. And I don't know this guy, and hopefully you're not in here, is he? They're my trunks, man. That's my board. But he now has an opportunity to practice the final principle of jackrabbit, to evolve. That can ruin his day. Or he could say, what action can I take to get a new board? Or he can say, it's a shame the board broke, but it was really cool that I caught 8 waves before it broke and was out here. Or if he's really feeling bad for himself, I could take him to a children's hospital. And trust me, that surfboard doesn't mean anything then. We have to get outside, and we have to seek to evolve. And to evolve is to undergo continuous and gradual change. The principles of evolution. How do we evolve? Kids, college, jobs, days. Every day we can evolve. Life is a great teacher, wouldn't you agree? And you've probably all heard the quote before that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Abraham Lincoln said, "We dare not disregard the lessons of experience." How many of us blow through there without stopping? A lot of great minds that before they lay down to go to sleep at night, they reflect on their day and say, what have I learned from today? Methodology, the principles, we refer to jackrabbit. And it's all about how do we practice these so that we can create more happiness and more fulfillment. Because here's what I believe, in my last thought, and then we'll get into some questions. Here's what I believe. Every day, every single day, when we wake up, we are offered not a challenge, but an opportunity to create more happiness and fulfillment for ourselves, for our family, for our friends, for our business colleagues, and probably most importantly for our children and our perhaps grandchildren. And we must continue to engage in that opportunity and move that forward. The world needs it. So God bless. Thank you very much for having me in.